Okay, you guys are working on your 8.3 notes, triangles. And so we're going to be working on finding missing angle measurements inside triangles. And so a triangle is formed by 3 line segments. That intersect only at their endpoints. And so angles of a triangle, since there are 3 of them that are formed, they add up to 180 degrees. So here we have a flag. Find the value of X in the Antigua and Barbuda flag. So here we have a triangle. This little square in the corner represents a right angle, which is 90 degrees. And so basically all we do is we create an equation. So we're going to add these 3 angles up, and we know that all 3 of them added together equal 180. So we have our 55-degree angle plus our 90-degree angle plus X, and that's the one we're looking for, and all 3 of those together equal 180. So we're going to solve just like we would for any equation. So you add your 55 and your 90, which is 145, plus X is equal to 180. Solve for X, subtract 145 from both sides, and X is equal to 35 degrees. Okay. This one we don't have a picture, but we see the symbol. It says triangle XYZ. If measure of angle X is 72, measure of angle Y is 74, what would measure of angle 70? And that's what these little symbols mean. M, measure. This symbol here is angle. So again, 3 angles add up to 180. So we have 72 plus 74 plus angle Z. We don't know what angle Z is, and I'm just going to use Z to represent that. All 3 of those equal 180. So I'm going to combine my like terms. So 72 and 74 is 146 plus Z equals 180. Solve for Z. Subtract 146 from both sides. And angle Z is equal to 34 degrees. You always want to put your little degree symbol there in the upper right-hand corner. All right. Next one, we have a city park. It's in the shape of a triangle. We have angle X. We have 44 and 20, so I have 44 plus 20 plus angle X, and all 3 of those are going to equal 180. Combine your like terms, so we had 44 and 20, which would be 64, plus angle X equals 180. Subtract 64 from both sides, and angle X is equal to 116 degrees. And you can kind of see down here how that looks like a bigger angle, greater than 90. Obtuse is the word. So, okay. Next one. So again, we have one missing angle, sorry. And so we have 45, 30, angle X equals 180. Combine those like terms. So we have 75 plus X equals 180. Subtract 75 from both sides. Angle X is equal to 105 degrees. So now we're going to start talking about ratios a little bit. If the measure of an angle, or angles of triangle ABC, are in the ratio of 1 to 4 to 5, what are the measures of the angle? So kind of what that means is, like, one side it would be like your X, okay, and the other side is 4 of that, so it would be like 4 times, and the other one would be 5 times. So how we would set that up is we have our ratio of 1, which would just be our variable X, plus our second angle, which would be 4 times that X, plus 5 times the X. And all 3 of those together, of course, would add to 180. Combine your like terms. So we have 1x, 4x, 5x, which is 10x, equals 180. Solve for X. And angle X is equal to 18 degrees. But that's only one angle. I need to find the other 2. Okay, so angle X is 18 degrees. Oops. But the other side, it has a ratio of 4 times that amount. So you would take 4 times what you solved for x. So 4 times 18, and that's going to equal 60. Sorry, no, not 60. 4 times 18 is 72 degrees. And then for this third one, it's 5 times x. So you would have 5 times the 18, and that's going to equal 90. And if you were to add all 3 of these up, they add up to 180. Okay, so the next one has a ratio of 2, 4, and 6. So one would be 2x, the other one would be 4x, and the third would be 6x, and those 3 together add to 180. So combine your like terms. 2, 4, and 6 would be 12x. Divide by 12. And you get x is equal to 15 degrees. So that's one angle. The next one is 4 times that amount. 4 times 15 is 60. And the last one is 6 times x, which would be 90. And again, if you add those 3 together, you get 180. Okay. The next one, the measure of the angles for triangle DEF are in the ratio of 1, 2 to 3. What are the measures of the angles? So again, we have 1x plus 2x plus 3x, and those 3 are going to add to 180. Combine your like terms, so 1x, 2x, 3x is 6x. Divide both 6, and x is equal to 30 degrees. So that's one side. The other one has a ratio of 2, so 2 times 30 would equal 60 degrees. Ratio of 3, so 3 times 30, which would equal 90 degrees. Again, if you add all 3 of those together, you get 180. Okay. Side ratio or angle ratios of 2, 4, and 9. So 2x plus 4x plus 9x equals that 180. Combine your like terms, so 2, 4, and 9 add up to 15x. Solve for x, divide by 15, and x is equal to 12. Now this time I have a side ratio of 2, so none of my answers are 12. So I would take 2 times 12, which would equal 24 degrees. A ratio of 4 times my 12, which would equal 48. And then lastly, a ratio of 9 times the 12, which is equal to 108. And again, if you add those 3 together, you get 180. All right, so now we're going to kind of move on. We're going to start kind of classifying triangles, because there are different types of triangles. You can classify them by their angles and by their sides. So by their angles, you're looking at the measurements of the triangles, or the angles, sorry. This one right here would be an acute triangle, which means that all of the angles on the inside are less than 90. A right triangle has one measurement that's 90, which would be 90 degrees. That's what that little box means. And then an obtuse means that they have one obtuse angle, which means that it is greater than 90. And on this one, they would all be less than 90. Okay, so you can measure by the angles. You can also classify by their sides. So if you see these little lines here, that means that those are the same. They're congruent is the word we would use for that. On this triangle right here, none of the 3 sides are the same length, and so they have no congruent sides, so those are called scalene triangles. This one right here, these 2 lines right here with the red lines, those are congruent lines, they're the same, and so that's called an isosceles triangle. And then if all 3 of the sides are the same length, that is, or they're congruent, that's called an equilateral triangle. So when we do this, we're going to classify first by the angles and then by the sides. Okay, So on this one we have 45, 40, and 95. This right here, it's greater than 90, so this is an obtuse angle. So that's how we would identify the angle. And then we look at the sides. None of these three sides are the same. They're not congruent, so not congruent. So first of all, the angle, so it's obtuse. It's an obtuse, and since there are no congruent sides, that is called a scalene triangle. So it's an obtuse scalene triangle. Greater than 90, no congruent sides, obtuse scalene. Okay, on this one you can see really clearly down here in the corner we have a 90-degree angle. We have two sides that are congruent, marked by these little red lines here. So two congruent sides. So we would say that since it's a 90-degree angle, that is a right angle first. Two congruent sides means it is an isosceles triangle. So it is a right isosceles triangle. This one here, we have all three are 60, which means they are less than 90, which means it is a acute angle, cute little angle because they're small. All three sides are congruent, marked by those red lines. So this would be an acute equilateral triangle. Okay, this last one, you guys can see the 90 degrees here. No red lines, so no congruent sides. Okay, so this would be a right angle first, scalene triangle. Okay. All right, and that is it for your notes. You guys are going to do your 8.3 homework. You're going to do 1 through 11 odd.